Hey everyone, Shaman here again with one more boss guide for you tonight. This is Telash Greywing, which is the third boss in Azure Vaults. Personally, I don't find this boss to be that much of a challenge, but I can understand why some people do. And it may just be just the way you're kind of playing at your cooldowns, or not using your Spirit Wolf defensive properly or anything like that. So the hardest thing about this boss, in my opinion, on higher keys is the explosion that he does, like when you have to kind of sit in the bubble that appears, just because it can one-shot you, especially if you don't have everyone topped up. And depending on when it happens, and I think there's one point towards the end of the fight here where it happens immediately after a frost bomb, which means everybody's at 30% health, and you need to kind of scramble to get everybody up, as well as run to the bubble, and that can be a little bit disorienting and kind of tough, but you'll see how I did it. I did slow the video down, and there is an ability tracker on the top left, so you can check that out as the fight goes on to see what I casted and when. Alright, this fight you probably will never have Lust for, but that's okay, you don't really need it. And if you do happen to want to use Lust on this for any reason, just make sure you don't pop it on pull, because you will lose some uptime. Just make sure you use it when he comes back down from the first explosion. Okay, so for these frost bombs, you just want to spread out. I usually take mine towards the edge. It's okay if you're not the first one there or the last one. And then always go into Ghost Wolf for that Spirit Wolf 20% DR, which you once again should be talented for in this dungeon. And that basically trivializes the damage that it's going to do to you. Alright, for this part, I always pop a Cloudburst down just so I can use the healing that I do from this later on. And then I go into Ghost Wolf for the Spirit Wolf DR, assuming everybody's topped up. And then I followed up with a Downpour, maybe a Chain Heal. Actually, that time I used a Nature Swiftness Chain Heal, just to get everybody up really quick. If you hadn't, say you didn't have Nature Swiftness or you're a little bit slower, your Cloudburst should help you get everybody up for the next Frost Bomb. And once again, you'll see I bring it out to the edge, and then I immediately go into Ghost Wolf for the DR, and then I run away. This fight used to be a lot harder when the Frost Bomb ticked you immediately right away, so you were basically taking two of them. But they fixed that pretty early on in this season, so it hasn't been an issue for a while. But also, so you'll see there he did the Icy Devastation, I think it's called, Icy Devastate or something like that. He just basically targets someone with a beam. That person has to move out, and then you just kind of focus some healing surges and healing waves on them to keep them alive. This fight can be a lot harder if that person stands in the group, which I actually did at one point, so kind of shame on me. I thought it was on someone else, but yeah, you'll see it's not that bad. Alright, once again, Frost Bomb comes out, top everybody off a little bit, go into Ghost Wolf, try not to get hit by the storming that I just got hit by there, and then run away. And then you use this time to quickly heal everybody up for this Devastator. So this is the one I thought was on somebody else, but it was actually on me, and I'm standing right in the middle of everyone. But even then, it doesn't do that much damage. So if you have some healing surges and healing waves on whoever's targeted, it should be fine. Alright, going into the next Absolute Zero, heal everybody up, and then go into Ghost Wolf and just chill for that DR. And then I popped my Trinket and my Resto right away, and then I just, once again, used a Downpour. I should have put my Cloudburst down before that Downpour, actually, but I didn't, which is, no big deal. And then just make sure everybody's topped up for the next Frost Shock, and it's basically rinse and repeat here. So I feel like if you get to really high keys, and you're not talented into Spirit Wolf, or you're not using the Spirit Wolf talent as much as you should be, this fight can be a lot harder, because those abilities are going to bring you down to 5 or 10% rather than 20-25%. Also, a good thing to use if you're in a pinch or in a scramble, or you just kind of want to use it, is Spirit Walker's Grace. It's a great talent for this whole dungeon, actually. It's very useful, but this fight especially when you're running a Frost Bomb, or if you need to run to the Absolute Zero bubble right after a damage ability. Other than that, just make sure you're getting some DPS in. Just like the first boss, you want to be able to utilize your single target rotation to the best of your ability, just to make this fight go by quicker. They did actually just increase the timer in this dungeon, which is really nice. That being said, it can still be a little bit tight if you're not playing the dungeon correctly, or if anybody messes up or anything. Okay, so this is tricky. This is when this fight can be a little bit hard, is when you go into an Absolute Zero right after a Frost Bomb. My go-to here is using Spirit Link, so you should technically save Spirit Link for when this happens, and then you should be totally fine. And you'll see I also popped Astral Shift as well. I honestly didn't need to pop both Astral Shift and Spirit Link, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to top everybody up in time, and using Astral Shift and Spirit Link helps out a bit because you take less damage and therefore have more health to distribute to like the health equalizing that Spirit Link does. For the Icy Devastator, the only tip I would have is just make sure, if you can, to pre-spread before it goes out. Just like, I mean, it basically targeted this hunter every single time, which is great because they were able to immune it. But if it doesn't, you know, if you're already standing out of the way, it just makes it easier so that you don't have to scramble and run away while you take damage and then potentially die because you weren't keeping yourself up. So if you're already pre-sped for that, it's great because you can just, you know, stand there and pump heals. All right, you'll see, just honestly, just see Healing Surge, Riptide, whatever you want to do there. It's just your single target heal should always be enough to keep them alive. In my opinion, they actually should have made that ability to do a little bit more damage just to make it a bit spicier, but it is what it is. So it's as it is right now, it's kind of easy. Here we go. We have another situation here where we get Frost Bomb into the absolute 0, and this time I don't have Spirit Link. So what I did is I popped my Downpour early, even though I usually save that for afterwards. And just I got as much AoE healing as I could there. And I believe I also popped Ancestral Guidance. So I had that back up because it was the first cooldown I used. And that combined with the Downpour, Riptide, and a Chain Heal was enough to get everybody up pretty quickly in time for that absolute 0. So if you rewind a little bit and check that out, you'll see from the ability tracker that that's basically the sequence of abilities I used. And then once again, go into Ghost Wolf for that DR every single time and you should be good. Alright, so I hope that helped you out. Like I said, this fight I've never really found to be a challenge. I can understand how it can be challenging if you're not using your passive defensive in Spirit Wolf as much as you can be, as well as if you're not saving Spirit Link for those tough parts or, you know, an Ancestral Guidance or whatever. If I hadn't had Ancestral Guidance for that second, you know, kind of scary overlap, I could have popped Healing Tide as well, which is honestly a really great option for if you have to run to the bubble while healing people and you don't have, you know, Spirit Walker's Grace or whatever else up. You can just pop Healing Tide and that's going to give you some passive healing, and then you can, you know, do the rest before the cast goes off, because thankfully it does give you a lot of time. But anyways, that's it. In case you're curious, we have 6 minutes on this boss and we don't wipe here, so we actually did time the key, which is great. But yeah, anyways, hope this guide helped you out. I will see you next time with another one.